I think about 3 weeks ago, I got an email from this Strelka FC, and they said, "Hey Tim, we're fans of the podcast. Would love for you and Sugar to come out and watch the event. And if you have any amateur guys," I'm like, "Yeah, I do." I'm like, "Oh, it must be a little amateur event in AZ." So I looked it up, and I'm like, "What the fuck is this?" It was like some Russian.
It's weird because those dudes didn't seem like they were Russian.
No, it's in the dirt. And they had we rolled up to Apache Junction, about 50 minutes from Phoenix. I told probably 5 of my fighters that I think, sparkling water, watermelon lemonade. I told about 5 of them that I think are ready for a fist fight. Say, "Hey, let's show up here. Do you have health insurance?" I want to make sure they all had health insurance, just in case something fucked up happens, when there's no commission, there's no shit like that. But dude, in this day and age, it's so hard to get experience as an amateur. You have to go through all this stuff. We got to fight all the fucking time in Montana from when I was 14, doing smokers at different gyms, going to different high schools and dueling them smokers. We'd get to box them. Mm-hmm. And then the day I turned 18, it was easy to get amateur fights. I had 10 amateur fights. It was just easy to get them. It wasn't a big deal. But here, it's such a big fucking deal. And if you haven't fought, it's so important. Like, you think you have an idea of what it would be like to fight someone. You think you do. But when you're about to actually fight someone and there's people watching, there's a certain type of nerves that comes about, and there's a certain kind of like emotions that come about. It's like scary. It's fucking scary.
I felt scary for them.
Yeah. And that even more so. It's in the fucking dirt. It's in the dirt, and it's 100 degrees out. We don't have a locker room. You show up there, the boys weighed in, signed this paper, what experience they had, and then they matched them up according to weight, and then they announced the guy, no microphones, no. It's like fucking the most ghetto shit I've ever seen in my fucking life. Bad. Were you? I was a little nervous. I was like, I just don't want somebody to get fucking hurt.
Well, I mean, some of the fucking fights were crazy.
Yeah, I don't want anybody to get hurt, and I don't want my guys to fucking kill anybody. But yeah. So a fight like that, a normal amateur fight, it's like, okay, you weigh in, you have a padded cage. You have a cage. You have a ref that's going to take care of you in there.
For sure.
Like, when you want out, you can get out easily. You just tap the mat twice. These refs, I don't know. He didn't even know what the fuck he was talking about. He was like, we're going to pause. We're going to fucking restart. I'm like, what the fuck? He did a good job based on what the fuck he had. He was a nice guy. But dude, I don't know how all those fighters and stuff heard about it. So they show up and they matched up accordingly.
What Craigslist ad?
5 of my guys tussled. And and five of them won. One with a fucking brutal KO that scared the fuck out of me. I'm just so glad that dude woke up, dude. It's like, Jesus Christ. And then JJ's fight, my boy JJ, who I've trained at the UFC gym like since he was probably 16 years old, 17 years old, just a little soft kid, would start almost crying over anything. If he got tapped out or if he couldn't learn the move correctly drilling, he'd fucking spaz out and lose his shit, and just not tough. Like, not tough. And he's been hanging out with Sean and I for years. And he fought. And he fought this athletic black kid. And this athletic black kid's like, "I want boxing." And I asked JJ, I'm like, "You want to box?" He's like, "I don't really want to box." Same kid who boxed J-Rob. And the black kid saw JJ, saw his body, his tall, skinny body. He's like, "No, I'll fight that kid MMA." And the bell rang, and the kid was super. You could tell he had skill.
Yeah, he was athletic.
He was breathing really good. His hands were up, and he was a good disciplined stance. I was like, okay, it's gonna be a good match. And JJ stayed disciplined with his hands up, really sharp. And we're in dirt. It's 105 degrees out. He just wrapped his fucking hands with like just a normal boxing wrap, put them in MMA gloves, put your mouthpiece in. And JJ started getting his ass beat.
Yeah, it was bad for a while.
They got in a couple scuffles, and the kid was way explosive and way more fast than him. And the kid ended up taking JJ down on top of him, starting beating on JJ. So I went and grabbed a shirt for like a towel to throw in. I'm like, I'm not letting any of my guys get fucked up. I let him scrap. The kid wasn't hitting him much. He was hitting his gloves a lot. And then JJ, late in the match, 6 minutes into the fight, we're in dirt. Like, there's dirt on their faces. There's dirt in the air. It's like, and they're just still scuffling. JJ kept maintaining his guard. Ended up catching the kid in the triangle. The kid lifts him up to slam him. JJ hooks on the leg. The guy starts blasting with the other hand. And
I thought it was over at that point.
I was nervous because I knew how gassed JJ was. And I know his leg, and I know it takes a lot of strength to finish a triangle when you're tired. And the kid ended up tipping over. JJ switched it to an armbar, and the kid tapped. And he jumped up. He's like, whoa! And all the boys were hyped, and it was fucking... Because that kid had his boys, too, who were a bunch of, like, big gangsters. It was fucking...
They're all next to me and shit.
Y'all got tapped with little JJ.
Yeah.
That's good, because JJ sometimes not confident as jit.
That's it.
But I'm like, you're good. When I wrote them, like, you're solid. You just have to be confident.
Yep. And that's a big thing for those guys. Like, fighting with those circumstances, how scary and nerve-wracking it is. You don't know who you're going to fight. You have no idea who you're going to fight. You have no idea if they're lying about their experience.
For real.
But they all, and I could tell, putting the gloves on all of them, they're all really nervous. And I don't blame them. Like, fuck, you're about to fight in dirt and you don't know who. It's 100 degrees out.
For real.
And you don't know how good this fucking ref is. But they all just went through those emotions and breathed. And once they got in there, they just trusted in their techniques, and they all fucking won. I was super impressed with them. But now, okay, they all got some confidence from that. They all felt the emotions. Like, okay, I'm in here, and this motherfucker's trying to hurt me. Sparring, okay, yeah, you can get a decent idea of fighting when you're sparring, but you know the other guy's not trying to hurt you.
But when it comes to fighting,
this guy's trying to hurt you. He's trying to put your lights out. He's going to kick you in the face if he has the chance, hard as he can. So, and they went through those emotions, stayed disciplined with their techniques. All of our group there kind of like, they were feeding off each other. So they're all pretty confident. But like I said, going into the next amateur fight, we got to just keep working on their skills, move into a real amateur fight, and now they'll be way more comfortable. Still nerves. Still, you're going to get those butterflies, and you got to learn to counter them. But they've been it before. They've been in a fucking dirt backyard and scrapped through it. So at the end of it, I was like, going into it, I'm like, God, should I be having my guys do this? I don't fucking know. It was making me nervous, especially if one of them get hurt. I'll feel super fucking guilty. But then at the end of it, I'm like, okay, fuck yeah.
That shit was sick, though.
That got all the boys a lot more confident, got them fired up. Jakar's teaching the MMA program now, and we got a group of studs. And the biggest thing is they're studs mentally. And that's the fucking most important thing about it.